Once again, hello and aloha to everyone in the planet, all the people. We're all enlightened and brightened under the sun, a spiritual sun of Baha'u'llah, the whole planet. We're all Baha'is, one way or others. Many of us were not aware of it. I did speak to you on the 5th chapter, which is the spiritual deed of the book 2. Those acts and deeds that directly produces spiritual quality, the qualities that we require, by which we kick in a new program in our system. Basically, it's like getting connected to the internet, and of which I did speak that Baha'u'llah has invented graciously few of these acts and the deeds, like a highway, such as Baha'i teaching, such as unity, such as pioneering, which Baha'is or those who are aware of Baha'u'llah can do it. Today I'm going to continue the same chapter 5 on the spiritual deed, going to more conventional acts and deed that has been in the other religions of the past, sometimes vaguely, but in the Baha'i faith it's been elucidated, it's been magnified and more cleared. One of them is called a spiritual detachment. A lot of Baha'is in the West have been asking me that, what does that mean? What is it that we have to be detached from? In a way, it seems by the writing that one has to completely leave the life and live some kind of a life that it just seems not plausible. It's not possible for people to do it. So I'm going to explain this, what it really means under magnifying microscope, by discussing it and share my opinion with you. I've chosen the Book of Certitude, one of the earliest revelation of Baha'u'llah, where he talks about this in the very first chapter of the book, as follows. At the part 1, in the very beginning of the book, His Holiness, the Divine Majesty, Baha'u'llah. Quote, "The essence of this word is this. They that tread the path of faith, they that thirst for the wine of certitude, must cleanse themselves from all that is earthly, their ears from idle talk, their minds from vain imagining, their hearts from worldly affection, their eyes from that which perisheth. They should put their trust in God, and holding fast unto Him, following His ways. Then will they be made worthy of the effulgent glories of the Sun of the divine knowledge and understanding, and become the recipients of a grace that is infinite and unseen." Here I've discovered for myself there's 4 points. Baha'u'llah speaks of four channels. He talks about the ears, about the mind, about the eyes, and about the heart. It seems through what we hear and what we see and what we feel and what we think, we get our concept, our faith, our understanding about God. It does not include taste, for example, because that's purely for physical things. But the ear and the mind and eyes, he says, your ear should be not listening to this idle talk. Your mind from vain imaginations. Eyes from which does not exist, perish it. It's there in a minute and it's not then again. And heart from worldly affections. To discuss this a bit, let's see about the ears. What is this channel of ears? When I think about myself, among many words that I like to learn, let's say from listening to TV when I came to Canada, I see millions of other words that I don't want them. They go into your ears. So many names of so many people, totally irrelevant to you. Whether they're Hollywood actors, whether they're cartoon characters, whether the people that they've destroyed the world. It just things that are irrelevant. It seems that somebody is raping our mind to install unwantedly and willingly to put all these things in there. Or they kind of blackmail us. They say, okay, if you want this 10% that's relevant to you, you got to hear this 90% that's not to you. So we're full of virus in our brain because of this, listening to this idle talk, the things that are just, there's no relevant. Same as our eyes. You know, our entire eyes is full of listening and hearing this TV. I call it Ayatollah TV as opposed to Ayatollah that Muslims have. It seems people are totally controlled. Their fashion, their ears and everything. All these TV characters shows any black guy, any this and that must be a criminal. So the same way people look at the people. But the reality is something else. Unfortunately, most of sexual offenders has been among the white people. You know, the percentage is a lot less when it goes to the Chinese or to the Arabs or to the Indians. Mostly are white people or those who are born basically in this country. I'm just saying that how our eye is being raped, it's being penetrated by these pictures that we don't want. 90% of our characters really is written by others if you look at it. It's not us. Well, it's the geographical area that you were born. Mother Earth in that area has given you certain food. The genes that has been carried by generation towards your parents. And from childhood, everybody just wrote this file for you in your head. You became who you are, but it's written by others. How much of it is really of our own impact, you see? This is why we need, Baha'u'llah says, to be renouncing and detaching, to find our individuality. We have to write this file ourselves as who we are, not by others. People are falling in love and cry on the TV. You can see it. By something that's totally imaginary. I remember Alexander Dumas, one of the musketeers, when dies in the novel that he wrote himself, was crying for it. You see how we can be entangled in our own makings. Or that is story of the Fyodor Dostoevsky, the Karamazov brothers. The main characters there, he lies about the things that has happened to him, to others, and as people start to believe in him, he then himself has started to believe in it too. Because he saw people that are feeling pity for him, for what he's saying is just all lies. However, people are pitying, and then he says, oh yeah, this thing actually happened to him, because he is inculcating himself. So we become somebody that we are not. So this is the foundation. These 4 channels, Baha'u'llah says that it has to be cleansed. You know, in order to be able, not to become a spiritual, but it's just beginning of it. Because how are you going to install, like a computer, any proper file that you need, that you require when you're full of unwanted files and your C drive is full of files that just should not be there? Baha'u'llah says, uninstall them, get rid of them. It's not very easy, but that's the only way though we can come out and to be who we are. Otherwise, we're just something that made by others, written by others, and used by others. So, I'm going to go to another quotation of the same book, Book of Certitude. It's very important when he talks about these renunciations. Quote. He says, "But, O my brother, when a true seeker determineth to take the steps of the search and the path leading to the knowledge of the Ancient of Days, he must before all else cleanse and purify his heart, which is the seat of the revelation of the inner mysteries of God, from the obscuring dust of all acquired knowledge and the illusions of the embodiments of the satanic fancies. He must purge his heart, which is the sanctuary of the abiding love of the beloved, of every defilement, and sanctify his soul from all that perisheth, pertaineth to water and clay, from all shadowy and ephemeral attachment. He must so cleanse his heart that no remnant of either love or hate may linger therein, lest that love blindly incline him to error, or that hate repel him away from the truth. Even as thou dost witness in these days how most of the people, because of such love and hate, are bereft of the immortal face, have strayed from the embodiments of the divine mysteries, and shepherdless are roaming through the wilderness of oblivion and error. That seeker must all times put his trust in God, must renounce the peoples of the earth, detach himself from the world of dust, and cleave unto him who is the Lord of the Lords. So, now, we are approaching towards a higher being. This higher being is within us, and we have to activate that program. I've spoken about this before, that we are a vegetable because our body, our hair, our height grows like vegetable, and it controls the disintegrations of the material body. Without the vegetable self in us, vegetable program, my body can be disintegrated in a few hours, decays. This is the job of the vegetable soul that keeps the body, but on it is installed a program of animal program which takes the body and makes him to see and hear and smell, communicate, gives him the reporters to communicate with her. Over that is installed a human program that controls, supposedly is supposed to control the human self and the vegetable self. But that is not the end of the way. Beyond and above a human power that everyone has, there is something else that's in us. You hear so many words, they say self-realization, so many ambiguous words, because it's all regurgitations. They heard from each other. This is what Baha'u'llah says, get it away. You're going to have to go firsthand, get it yourself. So, I've looked at it, and see the word that Baha'u'llah says here are very, very important, that I've tried to categorize them. So, because of this attachment that we have to this fancy, to this fantasy, to something not real, that creates this hate and love in us from the thing that doesn't exist. You know, your feeling is not your feeling. It's towards Batman, towards Superman. You actually spend money to glorify this thing. You want to live in an imaginary situations, and you have so much love and hate in you because you're dictated by this TV, by the Hollywood. First it was churches, and they died out, and the Hollywood kicked in, and now it's in the control of people. From the movie, from the TV, and the media essentially. This is Baha'u'llah says is contaminated, he says. It's every defilement, he says. The soul has to get away from it. Because they're all things that are not, that are again, they're unreal. That is a problem with it. You know, they cannot be trusted. Is essentially is not useful. He says in that acquired knowledge. This knowledge, acquired knowledge, is not about physics. It's not about social. Social and economical, anything pertains to physical life, yes, you can acquire the knowledge from them and, you know, use it. But when it comes to the spiritual self, where the independence of man comes, we should let go of it. Those who tell you, oh, be good, be nice, this and that and that. You have to know where the real source is. The real source in this case is Baha'u'llah. It's coming from him. As I spoken in all these videos from the beginning, we have to know where the center of the earth is and where are we. The gravity comes to center of earth, you know, that's where we're really standing. Baha'u'llah is that spiritual self, the spiritual power we're on. It's crazy. People, they let other people to think for them as if they have no brain themselves. They've rented their brain, Persian they say.